Peace. Greetings to you all. It's your brother Naheem, BKA Lord Abba, aka Mr. Just the Facts. I am wholly unprepared right now. My lights is looking crazy. Hold on 1 second, family. That looks a little bit better. Okay, look. Tonight we are going to have a discussion about, the rally, the upcoming rally. We're going to have a discussion about some Freedmen information in general. We're gonna touch on a couple topics, narc and Cobra, and some of the conniving things that's going on with them and their use of pawns of pan-africanism, et cetera, et cetera. So make sure y'all share this video out. Make sure y'all hit the like button. If you are not a subscriber to the channel, hit the subscribe button. Hit the little bell icon next to the subscribe button so you can become a part of the notification nation, and you'll know every time that we're going live and we're dropping content. Peace. I see everybody in the building. Arthur Ward, Metro Customer. We got Ty Harper and Brother Cato coming on with me tonight. I'm waiting for the bros to come through as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring Brother Ty Harper on and Brother Cato. Peace. What's going on, brothers?
Hey, brother. How are you?
I'm good. Good to have you on BTP.
Good to be on BTP.
Well, how are you?
What's going on, Brother Cato?
I'm good.
Welcome back to the channel. So I basically wanted to, have a conversation tonight. There's a lot of crazy stuff going on with with the Pan-African side of things, and I want to touch on some of that because it's getting out of hand with the deceptive tactics that they're using as we make this push for reparations louder, as the cacophony of our voices starts to grow, and even black mainstream media types are using terms like specificity or being specific, et cetera, when it comes to policies that, address our people. BTP Ali is in the building and everybody else, right? So are we going to get into some of that? But I want to start, Brother Ty Harper, being that it's your first time on the platform. Introduce yourself, brother. Tell people some of what you are doing. Let them know a little bit about yourself.
Hey, peace and love, family. I'm Ty Harper. Most people know me because I do a weekly HR 40 room on Clubhouse and now on Fanbase, the black-owned version of Clubhouse also. I'm also one of the founders of the Society of Freedmen. I came out of Ados, New Jersey and Ados, DMV before the Great Schism that broke up the organization and what we do. And I do a lot of work in New Jersey, also with our Freedmen's organization out here, and with the assembly, which we're starting to call the Freedmen's Assembly, the NAASD. Most of us came out of ADOS, and we didn't agree with certain things, so the organization split, and a lot of us who made up the local chapters are continuing to do what we do. Right now, we're looking at reparations. We're pushing forward. We're doing calls to action, and we're definitely talking about voting. Forget voting rights. How about getting voter representation in the United States of America? That's what we're talking about also, because the CBC does not represent us. We are the only group of people in the country that has no political representation whatsoever. Just a bunch of people that want to tell us what to do and trying to grift off of our legacy and our background. That's what we're working on, and that's how hard we work, and that's how hard we move. Thank you, brother.
Definitely. So our brother Cato is no stranger to the platform. I definitely wanted to get Brother Ty to let people know who he is, because I view the brother as another of the leaders in this reparationist movement. And there are several of us who are stepping up. Shout out to Sister Connie. Definitely want to give a shout out to Sister Connie. Let me see. True Soldier of Alabama put laugh out loud. I don't know what's funny. I'm trying to keep up with the chat. What's going on, OG Otis? I see you in the building. Peace and reparations, RPSU, ADOS Roots, peace. I wanted to get into some of the Freedmen acts. I don't know, Brother Cato, did you have anything you wanted to share before we start going in?
No, not at all, because I kind of already know the agenda for tonight, but thank you.
All right. Brother Ali, you want to share anything?
Nah, bro. I'm just jumping in. I don't even know the topic, man. I just know I was supposed to be here. You know what I'm saying?
We're just building tonight, basically,
Okay.
man. We're gonna talk about the rally, and we're gonna build. I forgot to share the video out and everything, man.
I'm not here. If you don't mind, it is something I want to say real quick. If I can give a shout out to someone. All right, I want to give a shout out to Dawn Page. She hasn't been posting much on Twitter, but she's down here in my area, the Gullah Geechee Nation, here in the Low Country, in St. Helena mainly, but she has caused a firestorm in regards to reparations. It seems like reparations has been in the newspaper in my local area, from Savannah to all the local towns in the South Carolina side where I live, because I was in the paper, but then Dawn started a task force about local issues, which got a lot of the community involved. But she's segued now into reparations, and it's called the Firestorm. With it's had everyone here, all 250,000 people in the two counties here, Beaufort and Jasper counties, are now, it's a buzz behind reparations. So not sure if Dawn is here tonight or in the chat, but she has been working, and she has brought the momentum of the reparations movement in the area where we actually, albeit for a short period of time, had it through Special Field Order 51. So I just wanted to give a shout out to her.
Oh, definitely. Shout out to Dawn, man. And you said St. Helena, right?
Yeah, St.
Helena. I pronounce it St. Helena, and some other people do too, but St. Helena. It's a town by Beaufort. It's in the Beaufort, South Carolina area. It's it's a quintessential Gullah town. They preserve it that way. That's why they don't allow fast food restaurants on the island. All the restaurants are usually locally owned by the Black Gullah people. It looks the way a Gullah Geechee town of the 1940s, 50s would have looked. And it's extremely quintessential Gullah, almost pristine. And they're trying to gentrify it like they did with Hilton Head Island. And that's what Dawn was looking for, a fight. She found one. And she has these good old boys on the council turning red. And she's just calling like it is. And I've shown up too. And I've been calling like it is. But she has really caused a lot of buzz now in respects to reparations. She's gotten the older people involved, the ones that will actually show up to the polls or not show up to the polls. She's gotten them with the mindset that, look, she's called them out. We've been giving away our votes for nothing. And look, what we've been getting. So now people are mad. And let me tell you, I've been here my entire life. I've never seen the local older people so angry with these Democratic representatives like the Republicans here. But they let the Democratic representatives have it about how they've gotten nothing besides more poverty, failing schools,
that's right,
funded neighborhoods, and gentrification. And yet those people are in office for them. So Dawn's really caused a firestorm down here. And of course, I'm riding the momentum as long as it's here.
Shout out to Dawn. Shout out to Sister Dawn, man. I know some people, they have their issues with Sister Dawn at times, but I genuinely believe that Sister Dawn fights for our cause. Everybody doesn't like some people ain't going to like your methodology. Some people don't like our methodology. It is what it is. But I know for a fact that sister is fighting. And Sister Dawn, if you're listening, you are definitely welcome to come up on the panel. It was crazy because you said Saint Helena, and I just read Saint Helena and From Here to Equality not too long ago. I was trying to find exactly where I read it. You know how that happens sometimes. Like, I just read that. I don't know where I seen it at from my phone to the actual book. But you know, when you look at South Carolina, and let me pull this up, right? Let's pull this image up. This is the image that we were supposed to receive, that shows the land that we were supposed to receive by 40 acres and a mule. What's taking so long to pop up? Okay, there you go. Let me show this real quick. So this is that in orange that you see, that coastal land was supposed to belong to the freedmen. We never, well, for a time we were able to enjoy some things. The mystical years is what they called. Dr. Darity and Kirsten Mullins in their book From Here to Equality, they have a whole chapter 9, dedicated to this, you know, this time period where we enjoyed some of what the federal government was supposed to do for us. And this orange area right here, I've been on record as saying that this would have been our Chicago, Harlem, Detroit, New Orleans, all of that balled up into one. There wouldn't have been no place in the country like this strip of land right here had we gotten what we were supposed to get. I'll tell you that. But it was Johnson. Let me read from out of page 178 of From Here to Equality. You know, people say Donald Trump is the worst president in history. No, Andrew Johnson is the worst president in history. Donald Trump reminds me somewhat of Andrew Johnson because of the people that he had around him and the things that they were trying to push. But no, man, we gotta be real, man. We gotta be real. Yeah, I'm gonna get to some of that, Ali. I just seen what you put in there. I'm gonna pull up some things as well. So it says a presidential proclamation of authority offered pardons to all who had participated directly or indirectly in the existing rebellion. So they pardoned them. We're seeing the same thing happen today with the Capitol rioters. They're not going to hold Trump accountable. I just was watching the news clips earlier. They're basically the Department of Justice under Merrick Garland. The pundits on TV are saying it looks like the DOJ is going to let Trump slide and get away with all of the stuff that he got away with. This is white supremacy in the United States of America, and why this country is rotting from the head down like a fish. It says they received, it continues, full restoration of property rights, except, of course, the slaves, on the taking of an oath by such people that they would henceforth support and defend the Constitution and abide by the laws of the reunited land. He began to roll out amnesty proclamations to the state, beginning with North Carolina and Mississippi in May and June 1865, respectively. Further, in a move calculated to appeal to his working class constituents, Johnson also called for the seizure of former rebels' taxable property valued at or above $20,000 and redistribution of that property to small-scale white farmers, artisans, and merchants. So basically, the rebels that had property that had a high valuation, the punishment was, definitely not gonna give it to the Negroes. I'm gonna just divvy it up to more poorer whites who are still part of our Southern Confederate rebel fake government. It continues, Johnson's amnesty declaration rendered Section 4 of the Freedmen's Bureau Act of 1865 null and void, making it impossible for ex-slaves and loyal white refugees to rent up to 40 acres with an option to purchase the land and then receive the title. He accepted rebel requests for the restoration of their seized property. So, you know, there's a lot to touch on in that alone, right? The purpose of the federal directive was, excuse me, Special Field Order 15 was for us to, it wasn't just that we got the land, we were given the land. We had to like basically rent to own the land, which wasn't a hard thing to do it back in those days because, you know, you had cotton, you had tobacco, you had other crops. My mother tells me about how her grandfather, my great-grandfather, had land in South Carolina, and he was one of the most prosperous people in that town of Richmond, which is situated in Dorchester, South Carolina, right? So we can surmise that our freedmen ancestors would have been successful. Otis got the page numbers on deck. St. Helena, South Carolina, pages 123, 133, 138, and 280. That's what I'm talking about. Peace, Bond Dog, D. Let me see who else is in here. All right, so I'm gonna pull your comment up, Cato. Even Gullah Geechee that did keep their land, such as my family, have not gotten a dime because it's heirs property. We cannot get equity from it, and many struggle to pay their taxes. Right now, I have land in South Carolina. It's about an acre and 1/4 or something like that, and it's a big family fight about who gets it because my grandfather left it to his children. And every time they passed, it went to their children, which would be my mother and her brothers. And every time they had a children and one of them passed, it would go to us and be split up. And it's just crazy. So now they're just trying to sell the whole land, but it's caught up in that whole heirs property thing as well. So somebody said, how can I get in contact with you? BTP Livecast at gmail.com. I'm putting it in the chat. So anybody want to touch on that? Because I'm going to get into the special field order and we're going to get into some of these Freedmen's bills. Anybody want to touch on anything?
Cato, break down for the people, if you could, heirs property, what exactly that is and how that could be detrimental for the people who inherit or have control over property that was handed down to them.
So heirs property is it's a status of land where a person who purchased land doesn't leave a will. And it's mainly in the South. I mean, it exists in the North, but it's mainly a Southern phenomenon. And it's mainly something that occurs with poor Southern Blacks. For example, my great-great-great-great-grandparents, Molly and Quash Fripp, who, if you Google Fripp Island right now, you'll see that Fripp Island is a luxury resort, but it was a rice plantation where my great-great-great-great-great-grandparents were both enslaved. They purchased property from Special Field Order 15. According to the legend, they lost it through racist Andrew Johnson, but the Freedmen Bureau was able to reclaim some land because a lot of, not all, unfortunately, but a lot of the old traitors to the nation, Confederate soldiers and their families, some of them killed themselves because they had nothing. They got the land back and couldn't pay the taxes. So thankfully, they did that. And then the Freedmen's Bureau helped some of the Black people who got land get it back. So my great-great-great-great-grandfather finally received a deed in 1889. Unfortunately, however, like most Black people, especially in the low country of South Carolina, couldn't read, couldn't write. And there was discrimination from lawyers. I mean, a Black lawyer didn't exist, and the white lawyers weren't willing to help, so he was not able to create a deed. So there's a state, and I'm not sure if I pronounce this word right, it's called interstate. That's when something is left without a deed. So once that happens, the property then goes to all the heirs, and no heir can have sole ownership of the property. And the reason that's bad, because now one of the heirs, however, can sell their share, and then if a person, if they buy the share from an heir, they can then outbid the other people and pretty much force the property into a sale. And 80% of land in the South Carolina is ground zero for it, has been lost. Black land has been lost since 1969. 80% of land, black owned land. And it was through mainly what's called partition sales. Like I just described it. Usually this is what happened. A wealthy white family or company will find an heir that may not even know of the property, may not have ever met the relatives, because during the Great Migration, everyone split and scattered. They sell their share. The then white company goes to probate court and says, hey, I want to force it into a sale. And this has happened so many times here. Families wake up one day and they're being told, you got to go. Now, you won't believe who put an end to that in South Carolina. I will actually I'll take a guess, but you won't believe. You'll never guess it right. It wasn't good old James Sideburns. It wasn't Lizzie Graham, or they call him Graham Cracker. It wasn't him. Nikki Haley, believe it or not, put it into it as governor. She put it into partition sales. And that has been a big boom now for a lot of organizations and charities that work to help Black people who are heirs to property monetize their land or at least keep it. Like my father right now, he is the heir. We have several properties from the Civil War or Reconstruction era. On one side, on his father's side, on his mother's side, 22 acres in a booming area of town, like booming. They put medical centers in everything. It's prime property. My brother had to go into debt to find land to buy a house, when really we have over like 60 something acres of property that we should have been able to put a house and develop and make money from it. But with heirs property, you can't do anything. The only thing you can do at the most is put a mobile home. And even then, they're very particular about what type of mobile home you put. So that's heirs property in a nutshell.
There's a Vice documentary on heirs property that everybody should check out, man. I watched it some months back. I didn't know what was going on. I didn't know this. I think they were in Mississippi.
Louisiana, I thought it was.
I remember, yeah, it was one of them. I was like, I was taken aback. I can't front. So yeah, man, this is what's been going on with our people for the longest. I wanted to pull up real quick Special Field Order 15 and just go to section number 4 that Dr. Darity highlights in his book. This is from Special Field Order 15. It says, whenever a Negro has enlisted in the military service of the United States, he may locate his family in any one of the settlements at pleasure and acquire a homestead and all other rights and privileges of a settler, as though present in person. In like manner, Negroes may settle their families and engage on board the gunboats or in fishing or in the navigation of the inland waters without losing any claim to land or other advantages derived from this system. But no one, unless an actual setter as above defined or unless absent on government service, will be entitled to claim any right to land or property in any settlement by virtue of these orders. So you kind of get a clue of what Dr. Darity means when he said what Johnson did made Section 4 null and void, because these people rebelled against the United States of America, something that our people have never, ever done. And they were able to petition the government under Andrew Johnson and get all of this land back. So we were never able, in most cases, to enjoy the right of ownership or even the right of being renting to own, if you will. So yeah, go ahead, brother.
Now, can I add something real quick? There's another thing with heirs property that y'all might think is insane, but I'm sure a lot of us have experienced heirs property issues before. Like my father and I have a cousin, they're paying the taxes. They pay thousands and thousands of dollars to keep the land. The crazy thing, just because you pay the taxes, you still don't have the ultimate say. I haven't paid the dime, for example, and let's say my brother has paid $50,000 of his money to keep the property. I still have just as much right as he. And that's the crazy thing. It's not like the person that pays gets more authority. No, you're just going to be the poorest person. So heirs property is really a mess, and that is something that I feel in a reparations package, they need to compensate us for any lost land and allot land to us tax exempt. Like Native Americans have reservations, we need to have Freedmen land, all 50 states, only for us, and that's it.
That's right. That's right. That is correct. So I want to pull this up, and after that, Brother Ty, Brother Ali, y'all can jump in at any time. I want to read this because this is very important, man. This is one of the Freedmen's Acts, right? HR 29. I have another one as well. I'm gonna, at the minimum, read the headline, but I want to read. I just want to kind of read through this. It's in the House of Representatives, March 11th, 1867. Read twice, committed to the committee of the whole House in order to be printed. Mr. Stevens, on leave, introduced the following bill relative to damages done to loyal men and for other purposes, where it is due to justice and as an example to future times that some proper punishment should be inflicted on the people who constituted the quote-unquote Confederate States of America, both because they declaring an unjust war against the United States for the purpose of destroying Republican liberty and permanently establishing slavery, because remember, the right wing will try to gaslight people into saying that the Civil War wasn't about slavery. It wasn't about the perpetuation of slavery. This bill is from 1867. So it's just a piece of evidence contemporaneous with the times, as well as for the cruel and barbarous manner in which they conducted said war in violation of all the laws of civilized warfare, and also to compel them to make some compensation for the damages and expenditures caused by said war. Therefore, be it enacted by the Senate and House of Representatives of the United States of America and Congress assembled, that all the public lands belonging to the 10 states that form the government of the so-called quote-unquote Confederate States of America shall be fortified by said states and become forthwith invested in the United States.
Now, mind you, that word is forfeited. You said fortified, but you got.
Oh, did I say fortified?
Yeah, but Lord. Forfeited right there.
Wait a minute. Where did I?
Number 5.
Number 5. America shall mean fourth. Oh, okay. I see what you mean. It says section 2, and be it further enacted that the president shall forthwith proceed to cause the seizure of such of the property belonging to the belligerent enemy as is deemed forfeited by the act of 17 July Anno Domini 1862, and hold and appropriate the same as enemy's property, and to proceed to condemnation with that already seized. And, it really this act goes on. I'm going to put this in the chat because I need to bookmark this because I don't know why I'll be having the toughest time trying
to read that
it.
piece right there where it's talking about the slaves.
Is that 3?
Where was it at? Section 4. What does section 4 say?
And be it further enacted that out of the lands thus seized and confiscated, the slaves who have been liberated by the operations of the war and the amendment of the Constitution, or otherwise, who resided in said Confederate States, quote unquote, on the 4th day of March, Anno Domini 1861, or since, shall have distributed to them as follows, namely, to each male person who is the head of a family, 40 acres. To each adult male, whether the head of a family or not, 40 acres. to each widow who is the head of a family, 40 acres, to be held by them in fee simple, but to be inalienable for the next 10 years after they become seized thereof. For the purpose of distributing and allotting said land, the Secretary of War shall appoint as many commissions in each state as he shall deem necessary, to consist of 3 members. Like, this thing really gives a breakdown. It says each commission shall be allowed 1 clerk whose salary shall be 2,000 per. The title of the homestead aforesaid. Let me see. I'm looking for the one that we always looked at, where they were giving out basically a pension for the freedmen. I don't know if it's in this act. I'm not sure if it's in this act.
I'm pretty sure it's not in that act. That was
not in this.
It was in another act. I forgot the name of the act, but they rewrote that act so that they cut out freedmen and they put in Confederate soldiers.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Incredible, right?
Oh, yeah. I mean, but we don't put nothing past these people. They've been doing this from day one. I'm going to put this link in the chat for everybody. I'm going to pull up one more. Let me bookmark this. I'm going to pull up one more, and then we can, just give some commentary on some of these freedmen acts, and the reason why we're doing this is because we want to show why this term freedman is so important to our push and our plight as a people. A lot of different names have come up, and I'm not going to go there on going at anybody with those names. We've called ourselves by some of those names, but this is something that we have records for. This is House Resolution 173 in the 40th Congress, first session in the House of Representatives, November 25th, 1867. Read twice, referred to the Committee on Freedmen's Affairs in order to be printed. That's why I said in the resurrection of the Freedmen's Bureau, we, at least over on BTP, we would like for it to be called the Bureau of Freedmen's Affairs, because we need to tend to our business, and that name just lets it be known that our affairs is our business. Let me see. Am I going to read this whole thing? Oh, that's where I read St. Helena. So I am going to read this. I thought I read it in Dr. Dougherty's book. It said, to provide for the sale of certain lands and lots on the Sea Islands of Beaufort District, South Carolina, and other purposes. Remember, Brother Cato was just talking about these very lands. He was just talking about these very lands where Sister Dawn is now out there doing that reparations work and advocating for our people out there. It says, be it enacted by the Senate and House of Representatives of the United States of America in Congress assembled, that the instructions given to the tax commissioners for the District of South Carolina by Abraham Lincoln, President of the United States, dated the 16th day of September, Anno Domini 1863, be and the same and hereby confirmed. Section 2, and be it further enacted that all school farms, I don't know if that should be one word, school farms in St. Helena Parish and all lots in the city of Port Royal, South Carolina, or Port Royal, yet remaining unsold in the hands of the United States direct tax commissioners for South Carolina, may be sold for cash at public sale by the said commissioners and farms at not less than $5 per acre, and said city lots at not less than $3 each, and the proceeds invested as now directed by law. Now, this one was funny to me because section number 8 here, this 8th line, I should say, it's not section 8. Section 3, line 8 is omitted. So let me read. It's section 3. And be it further enacted that all monies, I don't know if that's bonds, schoolhouses, furniture, and books held or controlled for the support or use of schools on the Sea Islands in the parishes of St. Helena and St. Luke, South Carolina, by the Commissioner of the Bureau of Refugees, Freedmen, and Abandoned Lands, and by the United States Direct Tax Commissioners for South Carolina, be transferred to the blank. It's just
To the
omitted.
who?
To the who. And this is, I don't know if we can find the original document, because this particular website, and Ali, we've been using this website for 10 years to look up old legislation. So this was, and most of these come from the printed bills as they were published. So I don't know what the hell line 8 even said. Transfer to the who. Maybe it goes back to what Ty Harper was saying about they omitted or took freedmen out and put Confederates in. Maybe they just blanked out the term freedmen here. I'm not sure.
Right,
So,
because you got to look at the who it was that was being referred to. They were referring to the Freedmen's Bureau in that particular section. So the affairs of the Freedmen's Bureau had to deal with the refugees as well as the actual freedmen.
That's right.
You know, and let's be clear, the refugees were the white people in the South who were not necessarily members of the Confederate military or were not on the side of the Confederate, because there were white people in the South who did not agree with the Confederate maneuver to try to overthrow the United States government. So a lot of those people became refugees in the midst of the war. So I just wanted to say that because people keep talking about they were white freedmen, and it's just not true.
Don't forget, I'm sorry. Don't forget, Brother Ali, that also referred to people who lost their jobs or their livelihood because of this ending of the slavery. Because remember, a lot of the whites that were employed as overseers or overseers, you know, for operations and things like that, when slavery ended, they didn't have a job, so they were considered refugees also. So to keep in mind that they're not only supposed to take care of us, but to take care of people that actually participated and supported the industry of slavery. I found that to be the most sickening thing that I've ever seen. We can not only not have anything to ourselves, we must include people that also were privileged and also helped cause the harm.
That's a fact. It's been like that. And it's still that way to this day, unfortunately. Absolutely.
Indeed. So, brother Cato, you had anything you wanted to add to that?
He might have moved.
Yeah. So, you know, we
no, y'all covered everything, and it's just
I think he's having some internet connectivity issues. But so we just wanted to show that and show people why this Freedmen movement is so important, right? One of the things that we want to do, and I'm going to put the fundraiser link in the chat. You could, if you want to contribute, you can. We're trying to have a successful event for Juneteenth. We're having a rally downtown Atlanta, Georgia, at the state capitol building, 11 a.m., Liberty Plaza. That's the link to the GoFundMe. You can also contribute directly to our website. I'm putting the link to that in the chat as well. We're thinking about throwing a fight party on Saturday night. For those of you might not be into boxing, but I mean, we have a fighter, one of the twin Charlos. He's fighting for Juneteenth. And one of the things that the WBC did, which is one of the major boxing sanctioning bodies, was actually created a Juneteenth belt for that fight, which is what they do with the Mexicans for Cinco de Mayo. So I thought that was huge, you know, and the fact that one of the Charlo brothers is going to take this Juneteenth date as a time to recognize that we are a culture and that we have our own. I don't know how much he knows, but let me pull this up as well. But it's good because it shows that you know, they say if you run around a pool long enough, you're bound to fall in. So the brother boxing on that day, you know, that means something. And we definitely would like to celebrate that. You see the world champion boxing, Juneteenth, the WBC belt, rather, that's what I meant to say. Now, the WBC makes special belts for special occasions. Usually they make a belt for the Cinco de Mayo fights, but this particular belt right here is made for Juneteenth. And we're going to have fighters who are going to be fighting on this day. They have like chains being broken on there. For those of us that's in the Moorish movement or Freemasonry, you see that handshake right there. That basically means unity. So I thought it was a powerful gesture for them to create a belt for that day. And we would like to have a fight party. Again, if you would like to contribute, I'm going to put the link in the chat. I see you in the building. BTP Grimm is in the building, aka the Urban Mystic. Yeah, man. So let's open it up. Let's talk. What y'all want to talk about? Y'all want to talk about in Cobra? let's get into some of this stuff, man. Because I seen a tweet from Dr. Darity earlier about some of the nefarious moves that in Cobra and NARC are making, and I had to basically let it be known on Sister Dr. Ma'at's platform last week that I think it was Cam Howard and Arthur Ward, correct me if I'm wrong, said that it doesn't matter if you came over here last week, you deserve reparations. And that's just not how things go. And it muddies our claim. And to me, it seems to be purposeful, trying to get the United States of America to pay reparations to every Black person in the whole of the diaspora is just, number one, is unrealistic. And two, even if you say, well, no, not the whole diaspora, just the Blacks in America in the diaspora, because they have faced racial discrimination as well. Well, they left their countries that had Black rulers. Why would you come to a country with white rulers that is known to be oppressive to people who look just like you? That was a choice that you made, your parents made, to come over here. And okay, that was Ron Daniels. That was Ron Daniels, not Cam Howard. Why would you come over here and subject yourself to that, knowing that we're already going through it? So, we can have that debate and have that argument with them, and we need to, because these people are trying to really shut us out. They are on Clubhouse swaying every weak, uninformed mind with their propaganda. I believe that they're being paid by the Democratic Party with their connections to, I can't prove it, it's just I don't do conspiracy theories. This is a real one. Roland Martin and Dr. Greg Carr, et cetera, et cetera. And they see just how powerful our voices have become over the past 2 years, especially. So, what do y'all think about some of that stuff? Let's start with Brother Ty Harper real quick, being that he's, on Clubhouse, more than most of us. I used to be on here a lot, but I fell back.
Hey, thank you for that, Brother Naeem. I'm on Clubhouse with my team with Sister Connie Collins, Michael
Shout
Graham.
out Connie.
Yeah, Michael Graham, one of the co-founders of Actify Press. You know what
Shout
I'm trying
out,
to
Brother
say?
Mike.
Woney Spot's the first freedman woman to travel to every continent and every country on the planet,
That's
and
right.
of course, our brother Todd Levitt, who we call Men's, So
That's right. That's right. Shout out to the fan.
So that's our team out there. So basically, when we're talking about this, the first thing you have to understand when we're talking about NARC and Cobra, you're talking about dishonest actors. You see, they talk about, oh, we've been doing this for 40 something years. I'm fighting for reparations. I'm like, yet nobody has heard of you. You have made no push. You cronied up to people. You're filling your pockets, okay, and you're making statements that are simply untrue. Now, when you say something like, Okay, everybody, every black person on the planet deserves reparations. That if you're a black person in America, even if you got here yesterday, you deserve reparations. Keep in mind that this is done purposely. You see, this is what's called controlled opposition. They put out somebody that looks like us to deny what we are talking about and try to frame a subject or propaganda or a narrative the way the dominant society wants it framed. Okay, so we'll go back to what they're saying. Oh, even if you just got here, you deserve reparations. I'm like, okay, before we even get into everything else, this is a lot to unpack, but I'm going to try to do it as clearly and as precisely as possible. Are they counting the people in West Africa, the tribes in West Africa that sold us here? That sold us here. Are they counting them? Are they counting the people who have names like Akata in their lexicon when describing or talking to us? And despite what anyone says, an Akata is a stray cat. So they're calling us a wild animal that has no home. That is what you're calling us. Those are not the only names, but I don't want to get into that. This is not really what the topic is. So when you say that when they get here, they deserve reparations, so you're saying that they can do this, they can profit off of us and sell us into this hell, and then lie about it and cover it up until less than 5 years ago when we finally found out the truth, because we kept digging. The one thing I can say about freedmen in this country, about American Negroes, is when we want to find something out, we are worse than a dog with a bone. We will not stop digging and scratching until we get that information. So keep that in mind. So when you say that, so they get to come here and double dip, they get to victimize us once, and then you want to be able to have them victimize us again. Then let's go back to what's going on when you talk about this. This muddies the water in ways that are ridiculous. That tells me that you really do not intend to give us get us reparations. You want to sabotage reparations because no legal court in the world would hear such a nonsense argument. You want reparations for what happened to the native Black Americans in this country, yes, but you weren't here for that. You want to skip chattel slavery. You want to skip Jim Crow. You want to skip racial terrorism. You want to skip redlining, peonage, okay, sharecropping, all the racial massacres, not riots. That was their term. These were fucking massacres, okay? You want to skip all of that and then come here after the people that were here fought for you to get here because of an ideology, and it wasn't even an ideology, it was a concept at best that had no tenets, that wasn't properly fleshed out. That's what pan-Africanism is. You want to come here and say, oh, I get reparations too? No. Keep in mind that the only people that really come here as immigrants from Africa are already rich or already well off or already got a magic ticket to get here. So you're coming here now when you're saying, oh, but we deserve reparations too. I'm like, for what? You are not reparations. The word reparations means repair. You're supposed to repair a community that was harmed. Do you have any substantive proof, anything that's factually and datally verifiable by data that can be quantified, that can be researched and can be verified, that the United States of America has done anything to you like it's done to the people in the United States of America? We say the Black people here, we're talking about the freedmen. A freedman in the federal designation of freedmen says that a U.S. freedman is an American Negro, former slave, or emancipated slave, their family, and their descendants. So if you did not descend from here and you didn't go through that, coupled with 250 years of chattel slavery, which is an atrocity unlike many we have seen on this planet, much less in America. You did not go through another 103 years of Jim Crow from 1865 to 1968. You didn't go through the war on crime. You didn't go through the crime bill. You were not in any of the towns that were bombed in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and in Philadelphia when MOVE was bombed by its own government. And you are not the subject of the extrajudicial police killings that are taking place right now. That is primarily freedmen males and freedmen females. But you just see to believe that you somehow deserve reparations in this country. What court on the planet would hear this nonsense? I could get this thrown out as a first-year law student. Let's be honest. This is nonsense and this is ridiculous. What harm have you suffered? Most of them, when they get here, don't even know that they're Black until they get here. This is a fact. But now you come here and now you may experience, oh, a cab did not stop for me, or I experienced this or I experienced that. Well, that's not reparations. We have a remedy for that in the United States of America. It's called a civil lawsuit, which is short for civil rights. It's a civil rights lawsuit. If you believe that you suffered any type of harm or degradation, that is your remedy. Why are you trying to? That's a fact. Why are you trying to tether yourself to us? Why are you trying to piggyback off of us and trying to not even shoehorn, trying to crowbar these people into our reparations claim? Secondly, the rest of the diaspora, if you were in Brazil, you should be. You were 70% of the country in Brazil at last check, 74%. You are the second. I'm sorry, you are the largest black nation in the diaspora outside of Africa. Why you are not petitioning, fighting, and taking your reparations claim directly to the Brazilian government is mystifying. And I'm only saying that because they feel the need to speak on our reparations here. Well, this time I'm going to speak on it for a moment, okay? In the Caribbean, you have CARICOM. So you have entire governments in the Caribbean fighting for your reparations. We not only are fighting for our own reparations, we have no government representation at all. But you somehow say, well, I'm here now. I'm like, most of you got here after 1965. Okay, and almost all of you got here during the 1980s.
Wait, hold on, brother Ty. I gotta pull this up and read it. Brother
Okay.
FBA Nigel said, and this is something that I was hearing last night on Clubhouse by the Africans who were mad at Sister Connie and really the whole Freedmen movement. America destabilized our governments. That's why we come here. So we deserve repair too. You left from a place.
I was gonna bring that up to the brother to say, to get what do you say to people who, because you have not only black immigrants who say stuff like that, but Hispanic or Latino immigrants say the same thing. I just got into it with someone on Daryl Scott's page, a Latino immigrant who said the same thing, like, oh, we came here because the United States and their colonial powers destabilized all of these regions. And I'm like, so in other words, you ran to the people who jammed your country, your entire country up. That's where you run into?
Crazy, right?
That is the craziest thing, man. I was just going to say that, Ali. You got your country got destabilized by the American government. Then you figure, well, I'm going to go to America, to the people that destabilized my country, as opposed to just stabilizing my home country. It makes no sense. Brother Cato, jump in, brother.
Yeah, I want to say, most of my anger, rage, indignation is targeted not towards the immigrants who feel they can speak for us. It's targeted towards the politicians that are supposed to represent us. Because what an immigrant says on the street is irrelevant to me. Like, one of my friends last night, he was like, I don't think we should be paid for slavery because, that was just the way it was in the world. I said, well, then why the hell did we go and save the Jews during World War II? Because, people have always conquered other groups and slaughtered them. We're going to use that mindset for us. That needs to be used for everyone. So people want to say ignorant stuff, and I'm through trying to get people on code who just don't want to get on code. I feel we waste. Some people are worth trying. Some people just don't know any better, but the ones who just want to be off code, let them stay off code. But I'm more upset with the politicians and the media machine that props up people who are black gatekeepers. Like, I used to like Joy Reid, and sometimes she has her on code moments, but she largely avoids. You should see her show, which I watch. She's like Joe Biden's fan club. You're not supposed to be celebrating him. You're supposed to be holding him accountable for us. The only mainstream host that I can think of that's black who actually criticizes Joe Biden that I know of is Tiffany Cross. She criticizes him. She criticizes the Democrats. And when that audio, I never listened to it because it would make me too angry. But when that audio was released, where he was meeting with the so-called leaders of the black community, he was being very disrespectful towards them. She asked one of the ladies, like, why did y'all sit there and tolerate that? She's the only mainstream host that I know. And that's why they just gave her a show. It comes on Saturday morning. when I sent in a question to her about reparations just to try to get the topic trending, her producer reaches out to me and he'll respond to me right away. That's what you call someone using their platform to help advocate. Now, yeah, she's one of those people of color, and everyone, all votes rise together. But at least she's becoming more and more friendly to reparations. That's a person with whom we can invest and with whom we can build. So I'm more upset with the politicians. I mean, the argument against immigrants, I always tell people, yeah, I feel all black people in the diaspora should get reparations too, but from the people that enslave you. So if you are in Brazil, then you need to go and take it up with the Portuguese government. If you are in the Republic of Coons, Dominican Republic, whatever, you need to go take it up with Spain. If you are in Haiti, you need to go take it up with France. Okay? But we have to take it up with the American government that enslaved us. And the truth of the matter is, and I know we're going to get into that discussion about calling ourselves black, and trust me, I get more. I mean, I've always gotten it. Used to bother me even before I was a reparationist. Like someone said, I went to a show and they had a multitude of cultures. I was like, what cultures? Oh, Mexican, Honduran, black. I said, wait, what was the culture of black? I was like, can you be more specific? So I get why, always have why flat blackness is dangerous, because that allows what we're seeing now, everyone to jump in and say, well, I'm black and you're reparations too. No, it's not about your race. It's about your ethnicity. And if you are not a descendant of freedmen, you are not entitled to reparations from the American government. But that is what they're doing to deliberately make the reparations movement fail. Because, and this is one thing Yvette said, I completely agree with her, if you allow everyone to jump into the reparations movement, then there will be no reparations movement. And I just want to say, Tiffany Cross, people always say she's a sleeper agent and she's against us. No, that may be true, but I can only go based off what I have seen. And she was the only one during the anniversary of the Black Wall Street racial massacre. She was the only one that was speaking and pushing people on reparations, and she had reparations trending. So a few people say, well, she's a sleeper cell and she's going to turn. Well, she hasn't done that yet. And I feel we can't burn our bridges right away. Okay? She may not be where we are in regards to all the nuance and specificity. She may not be there yet, but if she is friendly to reparations, we need to be friendly to her and use her. And then when she turns, we cross that bridge when we get there.
Look, I agree. I agree with you on that. I'm not too familiar with her. I see you shouting her out on Twitter. So it, I don't know. I don't know her, but like you said, if I think I did see one clip. So for the meantime, in between time, if like Brother Ibrahim said, once they push her buttons and say you gotta stop, then and if she turns, then we'll know that, because sometimes it's like that. Sometimes some of them people really do be genuine about a position, and then the next thing you know, they're told, well, you can't say this or you can't say that, or else it's going to cost you your job. So it is what it is. But we gotta create friends in these spaces. I'm a firm believer of that. The problem is what we're saying is real, and the realness of it makes it toxic to the political punditry, right? And to the politicians themselves who are trying to run and feel that these topics is like, y'all see me read the article on this platform all the time where Dems basically are trying to be quiet on reparations, right? I pull that up all the time. We don't want to talk about that going into 2022. Then Biden, it leaked that his administration he told them, let's chill out on the reparations talk on our way to Tulsa. We gotta become louder, and I think that's what we're doing right now. I think that our voices is starting to resonate. You know, even like I was on Sister Dr. Ma'at. Shout out to Sister Dr. Ma'at. She was in the Buck Breaking documentary that Tariq Nasheed put out. I was on her platform last week, and she has a lot of people that are connected to the Afrocentric community. And I was basically saying we are a tribe, and for the first time in a long time at least, we are moving as a tribe. We are speaking and thinking as a tribe. We don't all agree on everything, right? We got Cato on this stage. We got to go at Cato neck every week or every other week because he be coming at our neck. So we be, but he on the stage right now, right? We invite Dr. Lely up. We family at the end of the day. And we're not going to agree on every little detail and nuance, right? But they see the message. They see that we're on code. Anybody, Cato could start a platform on YouTube, social media, Ty Harper, anybody can start their platform, and any one of us can jump on there, and it seems like we've been doing this together for years, right? Sister Cynthia, shout out Sister Cynthia. She's in the chat right now. You know, she's another one. She's, I think, one of the first family members out the tribe that we brought on Be the Power, if I'm not mistaken. I mean, it was like she been on every episode, right, Ali? It seemed like she had been on every episode prior because she fit right in. There's a code and we're all on it. And they see it and they hear it. And even the mainstream people are starting to understand it. When we get Jason, what's his name, Ali? Jason, was it Jason Johnson?
Jason Johnson. Jason Johnson. There's two of them. One's a reporter. Jason Johnson is the one that was with The Root. And then there's a reporter on MSNBC named Joshua Johnson. So I'm not sure who you are referring.
Yeah, Jason Johnson. He put out a tweet going at Biden about Tulsa. If I'm not mistaken, I believe it was the Tulsa situation.
Yep, that's a fact. It was him. I posted a tweet from him and one from Bishop Talbot. What's his name?
Yeah,
Swan?
Bishop Talbot Lee.
Yep.
Bishop Talbot Lee.
Hold on.
You mean Bishop Talbot Swan? That's who you're talking about.
Bishop Talbot Swan,
right?
Yeah, yep.
Swan, exactly.
You know, that's, and I've always seen him. I've never seen him not be in line with our plight. You know, sometimes some people, they don't know what we know. We're refined in this information. Like we got a whole manual right here that I call the Reparationist Quran. You may call it the Reparationist Bible, or you might just call it a book on reparations. Either way, like we are immersed in this situation. We're immersed in the data and the statistics as it concerns our people. We understand that other people are getting, and other people are starting to understand this in the mainstream, you know. So I think that we just got to keep getting louder. Yeah, go ahead, Brother Cato.
And I want to say,
matter of fact, hold on, Brother Cato. Before you say that, let me speak to you, because I see your videos with you at your, I believe, the State House, you know, speaking on the South Carolina state floor, letting it be known about our issues and our plight. And we need more of that because it puts the spotlight on what we're trying to do. Sister Dawn, I just seen pop in the chat. If you're still in the chat, Sister Dawn, let me know if you want to come up. We would like to hear some of what you're doing in South Carolina. Go ahead, Brother Cato.
So, well, it was a town council, but I've been going to all the mayors in my local municipality, and I've been telling them. They was like, well, we're just small town mayors. What can we do? I said, look at me. Y'all are mayors. I'm a nobody, and yet I'm here using my voice to push, not for what's popular, but for what is right. So don't sit there and tell me you can't do anything, because you didn't get elected to tell me what you can't do. You got elected to do what you're supposed to do. And that's supposed to be what's right. So I've been going through all of them, and I was saying, look, the Low Country from Charleston to Savannah have more Black people than any other part in this country. Like, more Black people. If you go to the Museum of African American History and Culture, and they have it shaded in to show the concentration of Black people, and the darker the shade, the more black people that was in the area. And from Charleston down to almost Jacksonville, it was completely dark. I said, so this is where the original wealth of America came from. And yet the people in South Carolina and coastal Georgia are now some of the poorest black people in the country. That's unacceptable. So I was going to say, even there's Robert Reed is in the chat. He was like, well, why can't we do some things local? I am of the mindset that, you know, we need to just focus on federal and then work our way down, because I feel like with the civil rights movement, they use federal legislation to then sue states to get more equality, because South Carolina didn't integrate until the 1970s when the reverse migration strategy. My mother then moved back south, and South Carolina was forced to finally integrate because of being sued by the provisions of the Civil Rights Act. But I also want to say sometimes we have to use the momentum of our quote unquote enemies. Like Black Voters Matter is doing a bus tour. They're calling it the voter suppression voting rights bus tour. And they're stopping here in South Carolina. They're going to be in Columbia, which is the capital, on June 22nd. I signed up. And you know why? Because when they come, they're going to have a media presence. They're probably going to have officials from the federal government. I don't know. And I'm going to be there calling them out about, you're saying Black Voters Matter. Well, Black policy matters too. Okay? I want you, we have to show up where the media shows up. We cannot be modest and say, oh, I'm doing work, but I don't want to let anybody know. No, we need to let everyone know, because there are two, and Dawn is in the chat. I think she knows them if she's there. There are two young white ladies. You forget their name, and I'm not saying I take full responsibility, but they have been, one of them gave a speech Monday at a town council meeting about how Black people shouldn't have had to spend a dime on land. We shouldn't have to spend a dime. We should have to adhere to any zoning laws, because the country already owes them, because she was white, and we should be doing what they feel, not be telling them what we're going to do. The point was, because she said, what she told me, she heard me speak at a city council in another town called Hardyville. She said that inspired her to modify her movement. She's with a climate change organization, but she's now including not racial justice. I feel is vague. She's including justice for Black Americans who are descendants of those who were enslaved by the American government. That's what she said. So sometimes when we speak out, even on the local level, Robert Reed, it will encourage more people, those who are right-hearted. Some people won't like us. But like I told my mother one time, you can't say the right thing to the wrong person. You can't say the wrong thing to the right person. Those who are righteous at heart will join the movement. And if we have a rally or Black Voters Matter, or I don't know, a Black Lives Matter rally, we need to show up there. We need to engage them, not just cut them off. We need to engage them, even if it means just using the media presence they are going to have. Jump in front of a camera, be loud. You don't have to always be polite. I start off polite, but if they're trying to overtalk me, I get more forceful. We have to have a media presence. We don't have the machine. They have them. So we need to show up where they show up, and we need to keep reparations in front of the cameras. That's how this movement gains momentum when you don't have a machine.
That's right. And you're doing a good job at that, brother. And we honor you for that, man. Brother Josh is in the building. BTP Josh. What's going on, brother?
Peace, family. Peace, family. Man, I was dealing with a cold a couple of days ago, or this week, in the cold. I thought I beat it, and I don't know. It just tried to make a comeback on me. So I was like, I'm kind of nose running. I don't want to get on, but I know I sound kind of stuffy, but I'm gonna hop on anyway. Hey man, I just peace to all the freedmen and peace to everybody. Oh man, Ty Harper, Cato, Ali.
We got some dogs in the building right now.
That's right.
We got some of the reparationist dogs in the building right now. We barking. We barking right now. Straight up.
So Ty Harper, I have a question. I have a question for you, bro. So what do you say to the people, right? Because these are some of the arguments that come up. What do you say to the people who say Black Americans left America fleeing from slavery, right? And so what about those people that may be existing in another country? Aren't they entitled to reparations too? The descendants of American slavery who now reside in another country?
Like Liberia.
Any country. Any country.
Okay. Okay, there are two trains of thought on that. That's a great question. Let's look at it this way. If you lived in America but you left for another country, as long as you still meet the criteria that we set up for reparations, you are still eligible. You just live in a different country, okay? So if you meet all the criteria that's set up, you've been claiming that you were black for the last 12 years, okay? Black or African American or Negro for the last 12 years. You can trace your family back to the Freedmen's Row on one side of the family, mother or father. Someone said grandparents. I'm like, well, if one of your grandparents is a freedman, clearly your mother or father has to be also. Like, that's a misnomer. So, like, right, facts, okay? So my point is, if you can trace one parent back, okay, to the killing fields of the Freedmen's Rolls, and we can identify that, okay, then you still qualify. The exception to that would be a country like Liberia for two reasons. Number one, when they decided to go to Liberia, they didn't just get on rent a boat and say, hey, we're out of here. They took it as part of a deal that said, hey, if we put you on a boat and give you a couple of dollars and send you to Liberia, that's your reparations. You get to land in Liberia, you get back to Africa, you get down doing what you're doing. They accepted the deal. They accepted that deal as their reparations in lieu of fighting for reparations here. They lost their claim. Secondly, when they got to Liberia, they started to enslave the indigenous African population in Liberia. Not all of them, but a good part of the smaller, weaker tribes, in order to build their economy. So they not only went to Liberia, they went there using the same ratchet, disgusting atrocities that were done on them, and started to do that in Liberia. I don't want to be associated with anybody who would do something like that. Okay? So that's my train of thought. I mean, you accepted the deal, okay? They said, hey, red pill, blue pill. Say, I'm gonna take that blue pill and get out of here and go do what I do over there. You accepted reparations, for you to come back now and say, hey, we qualify for reparations also. Like, actually, technically you don't. We have that in the federal archives also. You took the deal. You took that deal as your reparations, so you were already compensated in that way. If you want to file a what they call a claim or a resolution, okay, to take a look to see what do they call that, an appeal? If they want to file an appeal or a resolution to say, well, hey, we still qualify for this, we qualify for that, you can do that and see where it goes from there after we've already gotten reparations, and the people that are here and the people that didn't take that deal or didn't get any reparations get their reparations. Simply because you go to another country to do something else, but you still have the bloodline and you still have the lineage, you still qualify. So to me, that's my question. That's my answer there. Okay, Ali? Is that good?
Yes.
Good for you,
Brother Cato seemed like he disagreed with something you said. Go ahead, Brother Cato.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna have to disagree there, only because it's not like even free Black Americans had it so easy. Okay? It's not like we can't blame them, in my opinion, for wanting to get the hell out of a country where, even if they were quote unquote free, they could still be at any moment kidnapped and sold into slavery. They still had very limited rights, and some of them were still exposed, and quite a few were killed because of racial anti-Black terror. So that's one thing. Now, I don't know, the guy that played as Muhammad Ali in Regina King's movie, One Night in Miami, he's Canadian. And, there was some issues with people saying, well, why could you get a Native Black American? But the thing is, his ancestors were from the U.S. and they escaped slavery to Canada via the Underground Railroad. And I know y'all may also remember this.
We was just talking about that, Cato. Me and Naheem, didn't I just bring that up to you, Naheem, on the conversation we was having about people escaping to Canada via the Underground Railroad or on their own?
And it was centered around the same question.
Same question. Go ahead, Cato.
In Mexico, remember, there was a rich California businessman. He was, I think he was a native Black American, or was he an Afro-Latino? I forgot. He tried to get Black Americans to move to Mexico. Now, here's the truth. And here's why I tell people, I don't consider Pan-African people my enemy. I don't consider all of Cobra and NARC my enemy. I've never met people from Cobra besides online. I've actually gone to conventions by NARC, and I've always felt like, okay, they feel sincere, but there are just some areas where we're not going to agree. But when you start working against my people getting reparations, then yes, you are my enemy. And I mean, it could be my mother. If that was the case, yeah, you are my enemy. Sorry, Mom, I love you, but you're my enemy. But my mother's on code about that. But I want to say, most Black Americans, though, refuse to leave America, even when racism was at an all-time high. The Liberia Project ultimately fell because most free Black Americans refused to leave, and the people of the North was like, nah, you're not going to lower our population by kidnapping free Blacks and making them go back to Africa. Same thing in Mexico. When this businessman, this Black guy was like, come to Mexico, was successful, the racism here is not as bad. People was like, nah, we are Americans. This is our home. And like I tell people, after the Civil War ended, what my ancestors right here in Savannah, city where I was born, just a few minutes away from me, they didn't ask to go back to Africa. They asked for land that they developed right here. However, the Great Migration, I know my great-grandmother, she just died at 101, 2015, raised by a person who was enslaved, her grandfather. She moved up north for more opportunities to get away from poverty. And when she came back south to take care of my grandmother, because my grandmother was ill, a property she had in Beaufort was developed. They put a highway through it, the FHA, of course. Now, they could say, well, you moved away. That's your decision. You get what you get. No, she didn't move away because she wanted to. She moved away like a lot of people. South Carolina was one of the highest exporters of Black people to the North. They moved away because they were forced to. They were chased away. So I don't know if I agree so flat and plainly that, oh, they left, that was the deal, they accepted it. It's not like they had so much autonomy. Let's not pretend they could have had a gun put to their head and forced to go on that boat, because that actually did happen. And also, just for some context, a little bit more nuance with Liberia, it was a minority of the Black people there, along with the white, quote unquote, missionaries who went there and started the enslavement. And also, let's be very clear, some of the existing Africans, I forgot the tribe that they were from, let's not pretend like they didn't launch warfare against the people that was selling there as well. Okay, so there were no good and bad guys in that context. It was a messy situation that was just another manifestation of how dangerous and how harmful anti-Black racism is. It's not just a threat to us, it was a threat to the world. But that was just showing how it hurt our people no matter where they went. So that's
right, let's let.
Can I respond to that?
Let's let Brother Ty Harper respond to that. Go ahead, brother.
Okay, thank you. First off, Cato, I understand what you're saying and I hear your points, but you completely went off on a tangent on things that I did not say. I did not say that anybody that moved to a different country like Canada or decide to go to a different country should not be included in our claim. I said the exact opposite. I said if you went to a different country because you decided to move and try something different, but you still meet our qualifications for reparations, of course you get it. If you went to Mexico, if you went to Canada via the Underground Railroad, I have no problem with that. What I said was, if you accepted the deal where they said, we're going to give you money and we're going to give you land and we're going to send you to Liberia, okay? And you accepted that deal freely. And then when you went to Liberia, you committed atrocities there. I don't care if it was 2 people or 50 people. Nobody stopped the 2 people or 50 people that were doing it, did they? My point is anti-Black racism and a lot of the crap that happened was disgusting, and there will be things that happen. We all know what goes on in the continent of Africa. I mean, we were sold by the goddamn Igbos over here, by the Akin Ashantis. We know what's going on. What I said was, I have no problem as long as they meet the criteria, whether you live in this country or you live in another country. If you meet the criteria, you are still a freedman. If you are on the Freedmen's Rolls and you meet the other criteria that we set up for reparations, you can still get your reparations. Your reparations follow you. What I'm saying is that if you took a deal that they call your deal and your reparations, and there you go, that's a problem for me, especially if you go there and you commit atrocities. That is a problem for me. And I also said that if you want to have like an appeal, okay, like some sort of appeal committee, when we when we get our reparations and people have already decided who's getting it, people who are left out, there will be an appeal process. They could feel free to have that appeals process. But I stand on my square. If you disagree, you disagree. But what I would ask you not to do is not to make a case of something that I did not say. That was clearly not what I said. And that's all I'm saying.
Yeah, let me say, wait, hold on, brother Cato. Hold on. I agree on the Liberia issue with brother Ty Harp. It was something that I said just based on my own, deliberation of that situation, right? You look at that situation and you were given the opportunity to basically be free. You were given the opportunity to basically be free. Now, we don't, there's some things that happened, but then our people got over there and they did some crazy stuff as well. They did some crazy stuff. So on that question, when it comes to Liberia, I think that, I don't know, man. I just agree that I don't believe that they should be included in our reparations claim. Like somebody that escaped and went to Canada via the Underground Railroad. But as has been mentioned, Dr. Darity has a criteria, and we will do everything in our power to make sure that that criteria is established in this process. Yeah, go ahead, brother Cato, and then Ali and Josh, I could jump in.
I agree with what a person that ASAP probably just said, is that, yeah, that may have to be our own separate case for reparations. I will respond to Ty Harper, though. Again, it's not as if free blacks were living in some society where they had complete autonomy. Let's not pretend they were. They were not. There is none of us, and there are actual incidents of free blacks literally being forced to accept the deal. It was started as a means to depopulate America of the free black population. So I don't get why anyone would get this image of they just went in there willy-nilly and say, okay, yeah, I'll go. Maybe some were, but our entire lives still, we live under duress. We live under duress right now in every area of our lives. We cannot, it's wrong to say that those deals were not taken under duress. Now, I feel overall it's a separate issue, but no, they did not say, oh, this is my reparation, I'm gonna take it. We have to conclude based on all existing evidence from that time that a lot of them made that decision under duress, and who could blame them?
Indeed. All right, because we probably could go on and on that particular topic. But brother Ali, brother Josh, did y'all want to add?
Yeah, I'm just want to echo just what was just said. Like, I think the numbers on that is going to be too few, and as far as that being an issue, is something that we probably shouldn't even waste that much time on. But I think the part where I agree is saying that it's something that probably, if anybody, let them go ahead and raise that issue. If some people want to make that claim, I think it's only going to be a few, and it's going to be fringe, and that needs to be a separate provision. That may not. I don't like paying credit card bills that I haven't even swiped yet. So that's why I just let that be.
Indeed. So, I mean, as you can see wait, Ali, did you want to say anything to that?
No, I think I see the point in both sides of what's being presented. I do think that that Ty Harper might have been a little misunderstood, but I get what Cato was saying in terms of a lot of the people being shipped to Liberia under duress, because it is the Liberia project was something that most African Americans really didn't even want to partake in. Most didn't want to. So I could see some of them being pushed into that against their will. But that, again, whatever happened over there, and I think that that's one issue But my question really was just one of whether we, because people have brought it up to me. I've seen it on social media in a number of places, and people have raised that question to me directly. What about, African Americans who left? And I wasn't specifically talking about Liberia. That's why I say any country, that left or whatever. But Ty answered that question really well. So that was just, the kind of thing that I was thinking about, because the way he answered is the same thing I was thinking anyway. But that's it.
Indeed, indeed. So as you can see up on the screen, the reparations rally. I was in Atlanta last Saturday, man. Let me tell you, I was giving out these flyers and just interacting with people, man. I see you, BTP, Corey Lorenz in the chat. But I was out there and I was giving out flyers. I met up with a sister that she just seen me promoting it on Twitter, and I was saying I was going to be handing out flyers. She was like, "You need help?" I was like, "Sure." So I met the sister at Little 5 Points, and she came and got a stack, went, made copies, went out to the West End and gave them out. This thing is spreading. Like I said the last time, when you're giving out flyers to people, people are usually hesitant. They don't want to accept them. I know that I'm that way. When somebody try to hand me something, because it's usually like some party or promotional flyer for some party usually. And, people were kind of like walking like, eh. But as soon as I said we're having a reparations and justice, people just bust a straight beeline like, oh, yeah, let me get one of those. Let me get one of those. Yeah, I'll be there. And just having conversations it was a couple little street cats that were out there, and we were just building. It was this one group of brothers. They looked like they, may have been on hard times, but they gather together to build. I made sure I walked over there and kicked it to them. One of the brothers was asking me for some money. So I knew, I could see that they was, they represent our bottom. But those the main people we need at that rally. And I kicked it with everybody. I didn't care how they look, well dressed, neat. It didn't matter, and everybody was receptive to the reparations rally. What I was talking about, basically, I went into Seven Nandas, which is a predominantly vegan supermarket in Atlanta, Georgia, and the brother there, he was so intrigued by what I said. He was like, "Man, give me a couple of these." He's just started taking stuff down from off the shelves that just been sitting up there, and he just started placing the Freedmen flyers all over the place. And he put a little stack on the shelf. Wow, nice. So people can come grab them. And I mean, it was positive. We're gonna go back to walk through Atlanta again this week and make some moves. I'm meeting up with some people, and we're gonna keep pushing this thing. And it doesn't obviously stop at the rally. The rally is just that. What do people rally for? People rally to bring attention to a thing, right? And that's the purpose of what we're doing here. We're going to be talking about reparations, which is justice. It is justice. It is the ultimate justice. But we will also be speaking to things like police reform and how cops are able to get away with the things that they've been able to get away with. And people need to know that we're not going to take it no more. And this is, this is old school right here, going out on the streets and talking to the people. And that's how it should be. And then they can take that back with them and say, I'm going to be locked in. Yeah, I might work 10 hours a day, 5 days a week, but I'm going to do everything that I can to contribute to this, because I know what it's like to be working and getting paid good money and still just can't seem to just get my head above the water. And that's because for many of us, we're starting from scratch, man. Many of us are starting from scratch. So we have to become more vocal. Our youth are destroying themselves. Not only are they destroying themselves, there was a couple. Was that in Georgia? It might. I can't remember where it was. This retired military vet and his wife was gunned down on their lawn, and I'm like, what? You know, when the story first broke, I'm like, what? Like, why? Come to find out, some young dudes was beefing, I think, with their son or something like that. And the young dude said, there go their parents, and gunned their parents down. The decay,
Wow.
because of, yeah, bro, the decay because of our economic condition in this country. Think of a tooth that has a cavity. And we've all, well, many of us, I don't like to generalize, but many of us have had cavities before. And you can feel it, all right? Feel it on your back tooth. You play with it with your tongue, oh, man, I feel this thing coming, but you kind of ignore it. And then a little small opening develops. And the food and the drinks start getting in there, and you feel it, and it get, but you still kind of ignore it because you kind of manage it. Then that hole opens up some more because that portion of the tooth is rotting and the nerve gets exposed. And for those of you who've had cavities and you eat something like a grain of rice, which has happened to me before, where a whole grain of rice, and rice is pointy at each end, you bite down and you hit that nerve and it jars your whole face and it makes you just clench up. This is what is happening right now. The state of our people is likened unto a rotten tooth, a rotten tooth, and the nerve is exposed. And without filling that tooth, having a root canal, removing the tooth or replacing it, that process is the reparations. Because you can't eat good with the rotten tooth. You're in agony. You're in anguish. The rest of your face, really the rest of your body feels it. Your head feels it. So at the bottom, this minuscule thing, such as your tooth, with this exposed nerve, is affecting your whole head. The head could be our middle class, what little bit of a middle class that we have, right? Is this thing is starting to spill over into suburban areas. Chicago rappers going into high-end shopping places, which is usually neutral grounds, getting gunned down because the opposition knows that this is neutral ground and they want this guy so bad. Somebody said something? Yeah, they want this guy so, I thought I heard something. They want this guy so bad that they gun him down, right? So this is the cavity with the exposed, the root affecting the rest of the head. So we got to get this thing right. It's on us. We are the new civil rights movement, family. Make no mistakes about it. Yeah, brother Cato.
I don't know if anyone else does. I just have some questions about like just the entire logistics of it. Like, will there be parking, or will everyone be required to wear a mask? I don't know. I'm just thinking maybe some people are wondering about stuff like that. I got a room that's not far where I can walk to the state capitol grounds, but for people, because I know driving in downtown Atlanta is insane and it intimidates me. But I don't know, other people might be wondering stuff like that, just in case anyone's wondering about things of that nature. Like, is there an itinerary or an agenda already set up?
Well, we have the speaker itinerary set up, but I didn't think about that part, brother. And I have to be honest with you about the parking and things of that nature. But I will go survey the area one day this week, and I'll make a better report. I should have actually been done that.
No, I can help with that. Actually, there is a huge parking garage by the Georgia State Capitol, but they charge. I'm not sure. I forgot. I don't drive it downtown Atlanta. When I come there, my aunt, uncle, cousin, someone drives. But there's a large parking garage there But they do charge a fee. I don't think it's really bad, but it is more expensive than you will find on a typical parking garage just because of the volume of cars they host. And the mask part, I don't know if that's going to be up to you or if they're going to give you, sometimes they'll tell people they must have masks, but this is Georgia, and Georgia pretty much struck down any mask mandates. I doubt that's going to be an issue.
You know, I've thought about that. I am vaccinated. So yeah, I would definitely tell people if they feel uncomfortable, wear a mask. If you know you can social distance, you know, especially for those who are not vaccinated, definitely, you know, you want to give yourself 6 feet. We're going to be in an outside setting. And, you know, we can only hope, right, as we do this push, that people follow the safety precautions depending on how they view this thing. Not everybody takes this thing serious. I take it very, very serious. You know, very, very serious. Let me, you know, my brother Prime, aka Michael Jordan, he said, I think we're beyond civil rights. This has elevated into economic power for the freedmen class. I think that's still a part of our civil rights fight and struggle, because the things that comes with a pure reparations package also is tantamount to the things that we would like to see in full repair, right? Justice, being a protected class of people in the United States of America. Right now, it's just we're like deer, right? That movie Get Out. It is said that Jordan Peele wrote that scene about the deer in relation to us. Basically, we're just dumb animals that need to be hunted down. So I don't know, man. I think my opinion is that civil rights fight, which was also what Martin Luther King Jr. was fighting for as well, is it encompasses that. But you know, we definitely want to make sure that everybody practices. COVID is still here. The numbers are going down, but there are still cases that are going on. Yeah, I'll see what you put in there. And I look, let me say, all right, there's a sister in the chat that's saying that we should just be classified as freedmen as opposed to black. Look, I'm gonna agree with that. Me and Ty Harper was talking about this earlier. You know, it's certain things that we're all not going to agree with, right? Black and Negro, colored, et cetera, et cetera. We do understand that these names were on the record. I view them as just derogatory terms that just stuck on our people, right? And I think that that's a debate. And you know what, Cato? We should have that debate. We're not going to do that tonight because I didn't want to go there and have that discussion. But I think that we can. I think we should have that discussion next week. I think next Tuesday. I don't know. We probably can have that discussion one day this week, man. Maybe Sunday night. You know, if everybody's available, we can have that discussion about blackness. Because I've been asking specific questions for years about that, you know, but that's neither here nor there. I want to get Brother Ty Harper on to speak to some things. Brother Ty Harper, did you want to add anything to anything?
Yeah, but before I do that, I want to know what kind of rice you be eating that'll go right through your damn tooth and right to your nerve. I don't know.
Well, it was look, you gotta think, right? I had a gaping hole in my back tooth. And you know, rice is pointy at each end. So in eating the rice, one whole grain, you know, I don't care how soft the rice is, soft any food is. If it hit that nerve, it's just gonna hit that nerve. And somehow that grain of rice just went in the hole and just, I mean, I don't know. I think my face hit the table, if I'm not mistaken. I think I just boom, Like, oh.
Okay, for the record, when we all cooking for the cookout, you're not on rice duty. Your rice is clearly too damn hard.
No doubt.
That's all I'm gonna say. I'm gonna leave it right there. Nobody got to agree with me on that. That's just my personal thought.
No
all right?
doubt,
Yeah.
no doubt.
Okay.
I'm gonna leave the rice alone.
I only have 3 quick things I want to point out. First off, Brother Cato, something that you said is correct about being careful when you use civil rights, because they're already trying to BIPOC, POC, marginalized community, underserved community, everything that we say and do. So we have to be very careful. The problem is that we have civil rights in this country. We don't have human rights as freedmen. That is the bigger problem. But that's neither here nor there. But he's absolutely right. We need to be very careful about how we use the language. I prefer to identify as just freedman or an American Negro. I know people don't like the term Negro, but keep in mind that nobody else in this world wants to be identified as a Negro. Speak to most people that come from the diaspora anywhere. Nobody wants to be called a Negro. That's us. So when someone says, well, why don't I deserve reparations? One of the first things I say is, are you an American Negro? No. There you go. They cannot shoehorn in on that because that is a specific federal identifier and ethnic designation. No shoehorning in on that now, can you? So number 2, quickly back to NCOBRA. NCOBRA and NARC are dishonest actors. We've already said that. The problem that I have with them is anything that they touch turns to crap. Because if you look at what they did at Evanston, and I covered that in my rooms this week, and we covered that online, they were actually having discussions about cash payments with the locals in Evanston. And Cobra comes in, and next thing you know, cash payments, direct cash payments are off the table, and that BS housing plan comes in. Okay, they have $400,000 slated that comes from the taxes from marijuana. All of a sudden, instead of just giving the $400,000 out equally to the only 16 families that qualify, in addition to other things, all of a sudden they're like, oh well, how about all the other Black people that are living here now? They should get part of it also. And then they get on NCOBRA Day, NCOBRA Day in Evanston for what? They also trying to do the same thing in New York City with the New York City reparations bill they have there. They're in the bill. They're trying to put in this language, and then once again they want to control 6 seats. Now they also try to take credit for what happened in California, AB 3121, the one that the Assembly worked so hard.
Shout out to the Assembly, man. Let's shout them brothers and sisters out there. They putting in work.
Yeah, those of us in the Assembly and working with the Assembly. Cato knows about that too because he's been with us on them damn planning sessions for Fix HR 40. He knows, right? There you go. And corporate has put on their website that they've addressed the commission in California, and they put out a lie. I'm not going to say disinformation. It is a flat out lie that they crafted the legislation for AB 3121. For those of us who were working with them and knew what is going on, no, they did not. That was crafted by all of the then ADOS LA, who are now mostly now Freedmen's assemblies and Freedmen's organizations and projects out there. They had nothing to do with it. Dr. Darity came in and gave some advice, okay, and then Antonio Moore, I will give credit where credit is due, looked at the actual language to remove the trick bag language to make sure that it was delineated and set down, okay? And right now, no one from NCOBRA has a seat on that commission. The commission is led. She was voted as the chairman of that commission. Her name is Camila Moore. Camila Moore. She is on the board of the Assembly, okay? So let's be honest, okay? Let's be honest about honest about that. They're doing their thing. And NCOBRA is trying to say, oh, we did this and we're letting you handle this and we're giving you we're basically giving you permission to handle that, and if you ever need our help, we're willing to step in. Translation, they're mad because nobody wants them. Nobody is trying to get near them. They were specifically not doing anything out there, and the Senate in California didn't even want to hear anything they had to say. These are the facts. And now they're claiming that they were involved. They wrote the legislation using HR 40. I'm like, really? Because I don't recall seeing you on any of those calls or them identifying anything that you did out there. They are dishonest actors in their line. But the truth is they were first trying to ignore it, and then they tried to discredit it and called us jackasses. You know what I'm trying to say? for doing this and saying, "Oh, we're doing it wrong. We don't know what we're doing." And they had to step in. Now that the train is moving with no brakes and no rails and it's left the station, yeah, we were there all the time. We supported all the time. We have the receipts. We have the screenshots of your godforsaken Twitter account that does nothing but try to yell at people and put them down. Okay, and everything that you're doing. I'm sorry, a PowerPoint presentation is not going to save your butts on this one. You flat out lied, and we have it. This is who they are. This is what they do. And to take it even further, so you can see, just like we've all been saying, they are our enemies because they are fighting to destroy reparations. They're trying to make sure we don't get it. Remember when Obama was first running for president? Okay, now the then co-chair of NCOBRA, his name is Kabibi Taimai. You can probably pronounce it better than me, Naeem or Josh, all right? I'm not even going to try.
I'll be butchering them names.
Yeah, I don't, and transparency, I don't want to butcher the names, but I'm trying to figure out why you chose such a really long name, okay? I'd be happy with, hey, Jomo Kenyatta. That was an easy one. Hey, no problem. Okay, but we get back to that. Okay, okay. It says, let's not be naive. Senator Obama is running for president of the United States, and he is in a constant battle to save his political life. This is what the man said. This is what the co-chair of NCOBRA at that time said. Okay. In light of the demographics of this country, I don't think it's realistic to expect him to do anything other than what he's done. In other words, they gave Obama cover for not doing a damn thing for us, although we not only put him in twice, we gave him both the House and the Senate for the first 2 years of his presidency. And when he didn't do anything, that's why nobody came out for the midterm. You're not doing shit for us. You want us to be excited for what? Let's be clear. And NCOBRA does nothing but lie, calling things reparations that aren't. Josh, do you remember when they put out that tweet where they said this dance company and this dance studio in California was giving out discounts to Black people and free dance lessons to children as reparations?
Yeah, it was like yoga reparations or something like that.
Yeah, I call them Groupons. I actually went at their necks. I actually tweeted them an email. I'm like, so Groupons are reparations now. Groupons, huh? You know, so
that was San Francisco, and then there was your beer reparations.
Oh, I was just about to pull that
up. God. Like I said, they are benign neglect in the flesh. This is what they are. They're that benign neglect memo from 1970 in the flesh. And this is absolutely ridiculous. The sad part is just like Cato said, I've met some of the younger members of NCOBRA. You know, everybody in NCOBRA are not Gen X, are not boomers. Quite a few of them are Gen X and millennials, and now they have a few Gen Z in college. They really don't understand everything that's going on. When I explain to them and I say, don't believe me, sit down and talk, some of them actually decide they're going to work with us, like Marlon's been doing with them in Chicago. The thing about it is that I think they're dishonest to all their members also, except the ones that are at the very top. I mean, think about it. They talk about, oh, we put together the Pan-Africanist Congress. I'm like, what the hell is that? Who voted you in office? What government recognizes you? What in the actual hell are you on about? Okay, and this is what we talk about. And the problem is that they're taking Pan-Africanism and letting it's been permeating all of our academic schooling in America, okay, and our political views in America, but it hasn't actually produced anything, nothing tangible, to be honest. And now they move the goalposts. Well, Pan-Africanism is not an ideology; it's a goal. I'm like, actually, it's a concept that's been stuck in beta testing for over 100 years. The concept itself, I really have no problem with, but it is not being practiced by anybody but us. They have does everybody know they have a Pan-African parliament in Africa? In that Pan-African parliament, there's not a single diasporan country in it. There's not a single diasporan representative in it. It's all about the 54 countries in Africa, and only the Black countries are part of it. That's what it is. They're worried about their trade agreement and what happens to them. And I cannot fault them for that. You need to look out for yourself. You need to make sure your house is in order. Well, our house is on fire. We have 8.5 years, according to the new data, before we're at zero wealth, thanks to the pandemic. 2053 is here for us now. We don't have time to worry about all that. We have to fight for what we have to fight for. And if you have a problem with us fighting for and rebuilding ourselves and making ourselves strong, then you can do whatever you want. We don't have time for this. And that's the fact. And that's all I have to say. Be careful. Controlled opposition is everywhere. Recognizing it is one of the harder things that you will have to do. And let's be honest, Ron Daniels, okay? Ron Daniels, Cam Howard, all these people, they talk a good game, but they do nothing. And at the end of the day, they still put out on their website that they want reparations in HR 40 for all Black people in America. That's not the way it works. If you have a justice claim in another country, by all means, go at it. Go do what you need to do. This is all one in our country, and we're fighting for it, and we're fighting for our lives, we're fighting for our existence. None of that makes sense. We need to get the CBC out. We're working on our plans for that right now. The CBC will no longer exist if we have our way. We don't need to take them all out at once. If we get, say, 10 out, that would weaken them and send shivers up their spine like they haven't seen before. And this is what we need to talk about and what we need to be doing, and that's all I'm saying. I understand that everyone is not going to agree on everything at every time, but that's what discourse is about. That's what political discourse is for. The problem is that since we learned to understand that again for the first time since the 60s and 70s, it's terrifying them. And unlike the sisters and brothers in the 60s and 70s, we have our backs against the wall and we are truly desperate right now. We will do anything to make sure that this happens. We're not going anywhere. And these are facts. That's all I have to think. Thanks for having me on, brother.
Oh, definitely. This is I'm just pulling up the reparations beer. For those of you who drink beer, and Narcan and Cobra, if I'm not mistaken, we're behind this as well. I think they got behind it. We did a live stream on it last year. And I mean, if you wanna sip reparations libations, there you are. You may do so and pour some out to the ancestors, and maybe a money tree will grow up.
Come on, bro.
That will eliminate the wealth.
Yeah, but how stuff like this works is, part of the profits go into helping. I think it's NARC get they 10-point program accomplished. That's basically it's pouring money into them.
Cato, I got a question, and all right, just go ahead, say what you're gonna say, and then I'm gonna ask the panel a question. Ty Harper, before you leave, I want your thoughts on this question as well.
I just want to say a few things. One, I am pretty sure reparations at some point is going to pass, and that scares me. There's a bug called the assassin bug. I'm not sure if anyone's heard of it. And what the assassin bug does, it enters usually a beehive or a wasp hive or an ant nest, and it disguises itself as an ant or a wasp or a bee. And they don't know any better. And while it's in there, it's eating them and it's killing them. And that, to me, is a bigger threat than no reparations at all. Getting a bill that looks like it's going to be something good for us, but it's really not. Because that's going to take the fire, the little bit of fire that we have from our people. And I also want to say something else as well. I feel like, and I know this is easier said than done, but if there's any of us, and none of us can dictate how a person can use their resources. One of the reasons we're doing a reparations movement is because we don't have the resources. But if there's any of us, Robert Reed mentioned in the chat how we need to support Tamara Shilley.
Tamara Johnson Shilley. Mm-hmm.
Tamara Johnson Shilley. Which, by the way, she's a Geechee as well. So, I mean, we're making moves in this movement. I didn't know that. She's right a few minutes from by me in Effingham County. Well, she's a Geechee as well. We have to start supporting candidates that are running on a real reparations platform. And one thing she does that I really like is not that she's running on a reparations platform, but she's accessible to y'all. You can reach out to her and she responds. Right. And we need people like that, people that we have their ears. And I also want to say we sometimes have to be the candidates running for office. Now, I know you have to have a machine behind you. And I'm planning to run against James Clyburn. There's no secret. It's just going to be a symbolic run. I probably don't have a snowball's chance on a South Carolina summer of winning, but I'm going to do it because sometimes just getting access to the media, you put your name on the ballot, people in the media want to find you and know who you are. I gave that speech at the Beaufort Town Council. I've given many speeches before, but for some reason, that one sort of went viral. A reporter found me, and I made it to the second page of the newspaper. So sometimes just by running for office, even just as a write-in candidate, we get a platform to give more voice to the reparations movement. And that's what, even if Tamara Shirley Johnson doesn't win, which I hope she does, I'm planning to move over to Savannah, just a few minutes away, if I can, just so I can be registered to support her. But she's going to give a platform to the reparations movement. We have to know, and I'm not saying we don't, that this goes beyond just retweeting or attending a BTB power session. It involves us showing up, volunteering, retweeting, and supporting our brothers and sisters who have resources and that are running for office locally as well, but definitely nationally, supporting them with all of our resources, although limited they may be, because that is going to put the CDC on notice that if you can't lead, you need to leave. And if you can't speak for us, then we don't need you. And when they start seeing that movement happens, and you know, it doesn't take anything to be a write-in candidate, you just write in. And they may have, depending on your state legislator, they may have different benchmarks for you to meet. Like you have to raise $5,000 to get to the next debate. Some of them don't have that at all. Now, here's the case with me, however. I'm in South Carolina, and guess who's over the South Carolina Democratic Party's elections? James Clyburn's daughter. So talk about a conflict of interest. Well, I'm gonna have to tell her I'm running against your father, but I'm still gonna do it. I mean, I'm sure she'll be a professional and follow through. I just have a hard time reaching her. But we have to start doing that. I'm just doing it as symbolic.
Look, brother, I'm gonna buy some reparations beer. We gonna pour it on the I'm just playing.
And I'm going to do it as a symbolic run, just to try to give more,
no doubt,
voice to this movement and let James Clyburn know. You say you're Black Lives Matter and Black Votes Matter, or Black policies matter as well, because Black people matter.
That's right. All right, I got a question. All right, go ahead, Josh.
No, I was just going to say, similar to in a way that Marianne Williamson, we know she didn't have no chance, but she did help platform reparations on the debate, and make it and help further the conversation. So in the same way, I think what you're doing is great, Brother Cato.
The media tried to, they killed her, man. They did the Saturday Night Live skit, and they had like somebody playing her, and they was like, I'm into crystals. I'm going to bring peace and love and crystals and potpourri or something. They really just tried to clown her. They tried to clown her. All right, I got a question. I'm going to start with Ty Harper first, because I think he's trying to get up out of there. I'm not sure. But Brother Ali said I think that was last week, matter of fact, that I think we should just like take our focus off of HR 40 and put all of our focus into pressuring our president, Jim Crow Joe Biden, into forming the commission himself, right? I want to know what you all think about that. Now, before y'all answer, I want to say that I think that takes reparations out of the hands of Sheila Jackson Lee and the likes. The problem is Biden is probably just going to lean right back on Clyburn and Sheila Jackson Lee and them in the first place. But I want to start with Ty Harper, then I'm going to go to you, Josh, and then we'll round it out with you, Brother Cato. What do y'all think about, just putting our focus directly on Jim Crow Joe, telling him that if you don't form the commission ASAP, y'all will lose the House in 2022?
Okay, we've already spoken about this many times, and I've said this before. We are definitely going to be doing that. That's part of the strategy. But we can't take the focus off of HR 40. We have to make sure it stays fixed. We have to make sure we stay we stay involved. Otherwise, when it gets to the Senate, they might pull some sort of, we negotiated this, we pulled that out, we'll get that next time, and try to send it through, and then Biden will sign it. and then we'll be in the desperate position of trying to pressure the commission to do the right thing. See, when somebody is making something in the kitchen, but you want something different, you don't just abandon them. You make sure that you get what's going on in the kitchen and you get the ingredients that you can in there. Otherwise, what you wind up with is a shit sandwich. Full stop. We're going to pressure Jim Crow Joe, or as I call him, the lying dog face pony president, because that's what he called one of his constituents when they asked him a question. What's going to happen is he's not only going to lean on the CBC, he's going to assign it to Kamala Harris to put the order, executive order together, and then they're going to put it through and say, well, this is what they did, and they said this is what you wanted. He's going to lean on the same people. He does not care about us, so we not only must pressure him, we must pressure him to do it with Dr. Doherty, with Dr. Kirsten Nealon, okay, Dr. Alexander, people that actually know what they're doing, actual economists.
Even the one sister that wrote the book, Mercer Baradaron, I wouldn't mind if she's in there somewhere as well.
Absolutely. I wouldn't mind if these people are in there at all. I wouldn't mind if anybody who studied reparations and understands what we're working with goes in there and sits down with them. This is my whole point. And any commission that he points, we must be able to appoint at least 2 people to that commission. That's what we need. But he'll sign an executive order for everything, and he'll do legislation for everybody. But he tells the CBC, yeah, I'm working on infrastructure. That's too important. When I get past this, we'll get back to that, okay? How has that worked out for us for the last 60 years, everyone? There you go. You cannot do that. You cannot trust just trust one avenue. We have to come at them with everything in our barrel. We have to stay focused on these jackasses and what they're trying to do on HR 40. We have to focus on pulling NCOBRA and NARC as far away from the reparations discussion as possible. We must focus on getting Jim Crow Joe to not only put out an executive order, but make sure we have the lobbyists and people that are in place pressuring him to let him know that 2022 and 2023 are going to be a political bloodbath and you will be a one-term president. Is that what you want? Keep growing the way you're going right now. And we must lean on the people that are in mainstream media that have all of a sudden found their wokeness and are calling it out. Let's see if we can pressure them to do that, okay? You don't stop in just one avenue. In the military, we have what's called the pincer attack, where you attack both flanks at the same time and see if the enemy can defend both flanks at the same time. In this case, we are going to do what's called the 3-prong attack. We're going to attack them from all sides and see if they can defend against us. That's what we need to do. That's all I have to say. That's what I'm on that subject.
Indeed, Brother Josh, what are your thoughts on that, about the pressuring Biden to form the commission via executive order under the pressure that, if you don't, you're going to lose the House in 2022. And like Brother Todd just said, you might be a one-term president.
Yeah, we always got to be in a position where we can offer some type of consequence, because that's the pressure that they respond to. I think that another thing, I agree with what Ty said, attack it from all sides, because one way that I look at it is like, if we're pressuring Biden is like, well, I don't want to have to do this, so Congress, y'all need to get this done, and if we're pressuring Biden, Congress might be like, well, we won't get the win. Those on the Democratic side, well, we won't get the win. We won't have the bill to say that we actually accomplished that, and it won't be in our hands. It'll be in Biden's hands, and he'll get to put his people instead of us letting us being able to put our people. So, I think anytime you have a situation where you're creating, I would say maybe a competition or more than one side working on something, trying to get something done, then you probably make it happen faster, right? You got more people working on it. Another thing is, I've always been saying that we want to ask Joe Biden, we need him to make sure that we need him to push to get a Bureau of Freedmen Affairs back rocking, in the same way, like when George Bush, when 9/11 happened, all of a sudden you see a Department of Homeland Security. Well, we experience like economic 9/11s all the time. Like when COVID hit, I mean, we experience all of that. When I mean, we just in a downtrodden position overall. It's past time. Like I think they don't see a sense of urgency to do anything. Well, they don't want to do anything for us. They want to keep us as the bottom caste. But there's not that like just like in a catalyst that you saw last year with the George Floyd situation and all the riots popping off following that. You saw that people in different states and different cities tried to change some things. You know, they felt the sense of urgency to try to change some long-standing um, artifices that were, you know, relics of the Confederacy. They tried to change some symbolic things, you know, and then there was some laws that were passed that actually made some improvements, I thought. But there's never been that like catalyst moment where we switched that over to pushing for reparations or specific policy for us in like we were going to talk about the Free Bureau of Freedmen's Affairs, you know. And I think that part of it was Black Lives Matter was pumping so hard their message of pretty much just, hey, white guilt, just give us some money, you know, and you know, change some names and stuff like that. Black Lives Matter, you know, we forget how everybody was looking to that organization and those leaders and people dealing with Black Lives Matter to look like to be the face of some type of answers or to be the recipient of some type of benevolence. But we know that they should have been anchored on their message on reparations. They should have been anchoring their message on reparations, and that's where the problem is. So we have to. That's why we reparations got to keep this thing out in front, because who knows when the next catalyst will happen, and reparations needs to be the first thing to come off of everybody's tongue.
That's right, Brother Cato.
I agree with all that has been said, and I would say, you know, when my great grandmother used to take us shopping at the market for fish, and she said one way you can always tell if the fish is good or not is you look at the eyes. And I asked her, like, why? And she was like, because the fish rots from the head. So we definitely need to pressure hold Joe Biden accountable because, like I said, I look at the media and I listen to interviews from Democratic congressmen and congresswomen, and they're like his little fan club. He is the one that said he had our backs. And he is in a position not just to start a commission on reparations, he can start an entire commission on descendants of freedmen with the explicit purpose of closing all racial disparities. He is in a position to do that right now. And the reason he's not doing it, which infuriates the hell out of me, because he's doing things for people that are not even citizens that could not even vote for him if they wanted to. And then when they become citizens, according to the data that exists, they are just as likely to vote for Donald Trump or someone running against him as for him, is because we have pretty much continued to sacrifice our vote. But people are waking up. Jamel Hill, for example, she let him have it by calling him cowards and whatnot, and she's been doing that. So even people like Jason Johnson, Jamel Hill, people that we usually would say were not on code, they're even getting fed up. So like I said, some of our people are starting to wake up, but we absolutely should force Joe Biden to use the executive power that's at his means. But you know what? We have two hands. We have a left and a right. We can do that. And then we can also still focus on HR 40, because by no means should we ignore it, because I believe, like I said earlier, HR 40 may very well get passed. And I'm not sure if anyone else has been getting it, but I've been getting emails from Color of Change and the Black Project Future, which, by the way, is a Black Lives Matter thing. Alicia Garza, that's her thing. And they're now saying sign up and force Congress to pass HR 40. And whenever they get involved in something, I start to worry. I worry more about them than NARC and then Cobra, because all they're going to do is make it into a let's pass money for, I have nothing against trans people, or let's pass money for trans people to get free operations, and that'll be reparations for everyone somehow. I know that's what they'll do, is throw everything at it, and it'll be everything besides what we really need. So we absolutely should pressure Joe Biden. And you know what? It's easier to pressure him because the thing with Americans is most Americans only get involved in politics during a presidential election. That's what our people are going to pay attention to. And we need to use the momentum that will come for a presidential election to say, you had our backs, where is it? And not a commission of reparations, a Freedmen's Bureau that will focus on closing all racial disparities and reparations. So that way, no matter what we get, the wealth gap will be closed. And of course, not saying that will suffice as reparations, but the wealth gap will be closed, and then we can still keep pushing for reparations. So we absolutely should hold Joe Biden's feet to the fire and make him our #1 target, because the top of the totem pole is where you want to go. In war, ancient wars, they always attack the generals, the people that were the leaders, because they knew if you attack them and take them out, it can send all the other people into a disarray. So we absolutely need to target Joe Biden, because he said that he had our backs. He's had everyone. He stabs us in the back. He's been doing it again and again and again. And it's time to call him out and make him accountable.
You on mute, bro.
My bad. My bad. This was a fire discussion tonight. And I just, sometimes you feel it. And I was like, I know we're going to go in tonight. I felt it. And, I'm glad that y'all were able to come on. We're 2 hours and 11 minutes in. We were able to hit on the topics that we wanted to hit on tonight. Do remember, family, the reparations rally it is happening. It's happening downtown Atlanta. We are putting the final touches on everything as we speak, and we're calling for support. We want to do something that's great. Let me pull this up about an OG Otis. He said the 2022 off-year elections will have the highest participation rate in the history of this country. Mark my words. The 1776 folk are already stressing local elections for the cycle. And brother, the OG has been putting me on to the guy who started the 1776 project. These are the people that we believe are they're this guy right here.
Kadoo. White folks ain't that bad. Kadoo. Look at that. Look. I'm so happy. I just do my happy dance.
And that's white folk. That's black folk caping for white folk. Kadeem.
Your Glenn Lowrys of the world.
Yeah, and all of them. Every last one of them. And especially them people with the 17.6. Huh?
Saying, I just said you need to run. Excuse me. I just wanted to put that out there.
Oh yeah. I'm planning it. I just, like I said, my personal mission was to go back to New York until I came across Charles Blow's book. So my mind frame was already going up to New York and trying to challenge Gregory Meeks for his seat. That was because I'm from that portion of Queens in the district that his congressional district is in. So I was definitely. And then the devil, it made me rethink my strategy because it made all the sense in the world. Yeah, that's his name, Bob Woodson, the Woodson Institute. I got to remember that name, Bob Woodson. He is the one that has started the 1776 project. It is a bunch of Sambos. It's ridiculous, man. I've been listening to Thomas Sowell stuff. We are going to do thorough rebuttals to the claims that these people have made right here on BTP. I might actually do a video rebuttal not alive, but like how I used to do my videos when I was in the Moorish movement and make my presentations as a rebuttal to Thomas Sowell, especially. We have to, we gotta go at these people. We gotta go at these people, because if the OG Otis is on point with what he's saying about this, because they're gonna use the critical race theory thing, they're gonna be out in full force during the 2022 election. But we gotta remember, our mission is to force the hand of the Biden administration to get the things that we want. And it may be, in forming that commission, simultaneously having the Bureau of Freedmen Affairs should be at the top of that list as well. A and B. These are the two asks two demands, I should say, that we have right now, because having the Freedmen's Bureau reestablished is a game changer. It's a game changer. And if we're the ones who are pushing and advocating for it, then we are the ones who should have a say in who gets put on that bureau. And, we're going to automatically go with our giants, those who work tirelessly on behalf of reparations, people like Dr. Sandy Darity and A. Kirsten Mullen. So, yeah, we're let me get back to the rally. We coming, family.
That's crazy, Kato.
We're coming. What happened?
I just read what he put in the chat.
Yeah. South Carolina I've seen some of the places down there. I have my mother's aunt. I talked to her back in December. And I mean, we talked for, I don't even remember her. I couldn't remember how she looked or nothing. I did remember her name just from the family. And she was like, man, a lot of that stuff out there, she said it definitely modernized, but she was like, a lot of that, how South Carolina looks in Ridgeville, especially, she was like, some of that stuff still look like the 60s and the 1800s and slavery. I'm like, damn, so yeah, Sister Sin. She said, the white supremacists / Christian nationalists are all up in arms about CRT. So I'm caping for CRT. Yeah, they don't want. See, my only issue with critical race theory is, right, it's being politicized by the right and the left. For the left, they're going to use it to all lives matter everything. The right is going to use that to say, we want white supremacy and white supremacy only. I have a video up on this channel where I believe that's Texas. One of the state House members is challenging, the Democratic state House members is challenging the Republican state House member. And, he's saying, if you're against white supremacy, as you say, why did you take the words white supremacy out of the House Senate version of the bill? Why are you calling to remove words like from Frederick Douglass, from Martin Luther King Jr., civil rights giants, and add words of non-American right-wingers like somebody whom he named? I was like, this is crazy. This is absolutely crazy. So we're going to get up out of here, Brother Cato.
I just want to say one thing.
Josh,
I just want to say one thing real quick, and I'm going to be done. But
have Ty Harper close us out. Yeah, go ahead, Josh.
Yeah, it's regarding that CRT. See, that just goes to show you, like, there's a serious campaign going on, and a lot of people don't even realize what's happening in their cities. They're getting people that are, appear to be black. We don't know if they descendants of freedmen or not. My guess is a lot of times they're not, but there are plenty of those that are, to go around. But they're getting those people to go and actually do grassroots. I mean, these people are going to the city, the school board meetings. They're going and doing media campaigns. They're putting in the work to fight against the progress for their own people. See, and when you say so, what I see is the people on the right who are pretty much declaring themselves like the ultimate enemies for their own people, by fighting against CRT, and it was always anti-reparationists anyway. And then you have people on the left, like you said, who have to Ann Brown. You know, I never met a woman named Ann Brown, but I hear that name a lot. Black Ann Brown.
I like that. We're gonna use that one. There go Ann Brown.
Yeah, they go
there
Ann
goes
Brown.
Sister Ann Brown.
Yeah. They got an Ann Brown everything. You know what I'm saying? And that's when you Ann Brown, you know, you put it in the context like, okay, there's whiteness, then you got black and brown. No. Black is always at the bottom. We didn't pay all the costs. And when you look at Brown, look at Ann Brown. Ann Brown doing pretty good, you know.
Ann Brown is doing pretty good.
Ann Brown ain't doing too bad. She definitely ain't doing bad as black, you know. You know, and in particular Freedmen. So I just gotta say that.
Definitely. Please. All right, Cato, before you go, let me pull up this comment real quick. Before you chime in, hold on. LD Ward said CRT is impaired, pacified thinking, cognitive dissonant behavior in obscurity. Brother or sister, I'm gonna assume that you're a brother. If you haven't studied CRT and you've only relied on PragerU for an understanding of what critical race theory is, please go research what critical race theory entails. Go understand the ontology of its construction and why it was crafted in the first place and how it became a thing in college campuses, becoming, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, a course on race itself, because that comment shows that you don't have an idea of what critical race theory is. Go ahead, Brother Cato.
I just want to give another shout out, and y'all, all of us need to support. I know the NAACP can sometimes be like Narcan and Cobra Part 2 or Part 1, but there's a branch of the NAACP in Mystic Valley. Mystic Valley is a suburb of Boston. I'm going to put their Twitter handle in the chat room. We had a meeting today with Nancy Pelosi's second in command. Nancy Pelosi is the Speaker of the House. The second in command is Congresswoman Catherine Clark. And when this branch of the NAACP, they sent a copy of From Here to Equality to every single person in Congress. And I just helped them with the follow-up campaign when I found out. And this particular Congresswoman, Catherine Clark, she's second in command, she's the Assistant Speaker of the House. She actually read it and did a question and answers with us today. And I mentioned to her, can y'all stop BIPOC and people of coloring us and black and browning us to death and just make it specific to us, specific policies? Like, we were able to really engage her, and she read the book. She had a presentation about the book and said what she liked about it. So there are a lot of people out there doing the work. And that's why what I was saying to Ibrahim earlier, we can't just wipe out everyone because they may not be where we are, because this branch of the NAACP is on code. So if I said NAACP, they're worthless, I'm not going to work with them. No, because there are always exceptions to the rule within every organization. And like someone said, Ty Harper, you meet people of Narcan and Cobra who like, oh no, that's not on code. I'm going to tell them they're going to do this. So I'm going to put their Twitter handle. That branch is really doing the work. Like, we had one of the top ranking congresswomen today on a Zoom call with us, ask us questions. And that means they're getting airs. Same way Cobra and Narc has the people's ears, they're getting airs, and they're actually heading up with authentic, real reparations for our people. So I just wanted to shout them out as well. We got to shout our people out when they do well.
Definitely. Brother Ty Harper.
Hey, thank you, everyone. Well, everything that was just said, I agree with wholeheartedly. Everything that we talked about here is definitely cutting directly through the butter, right down to the plate of what we need. But what we also need to do and what we also need to remember is while we're reaching out, grassroots are very important. Online is very important. When we're reaching out and we're talking to people, keep bringing up the word reparations. Like we said, everything that we talk about, okay, and everything that we do, we know what we're talking about. We know what we're doing, okay? Those of us all over the country who've been putting in the work, like Cato said, okay, like Josh has said, we've been putting in the work forever. Everybody is not. Everybody's not going to want to do everything that we do and how we do everything. But what we can do is we can talk to them. We can educate them. And I'm going to say, like, I agree with Cato that we can turn some people, but I have to be honest, of the 33, 34 million of us in America, at best, 18 million of us are going to be on code or at least get together and fight for what we need. We're not going to be able to turn everyone. There's some people that I won't talk to on GP. Like, I'm not talking to Herschel Walker. He probably wouldn't understand what I'd say anyway with his CTT, his concussion protocol. Okay, I mean, let's be honest. But there are a lot of people out there we can talk to. More than a third of the people that I meet in the street that I talk to have never heard of NCOBRA. While they've heard of HR 40, they've heard of Freedmen. I'm sorry, ADOS, and they know what that ADOS is really not doing much anymore. When I say, well, we're the Freedmen's movement, it seems to resonate with them. Freedmen is something that just about all of us resonate with because at a certain point in time, we've heard it and we know it. So we can get out and we can talk to them. We can talk to them about voter registration. Voter registration drives are very important. If you register, say, 5,000 people, not even 10,000, just 5,000 people in your state, you will not have to go to anyone. They will be coming to look for you. I promise you. In Jersey City, where I'm the president of the Black Citizens Caucus out here, we only registered to vote 1,000 people. All of a sudden, the city council, the mayor's office, the director of public safety, they all put out our feelers and emails to talk to us. So when people say that, oh, our vote means nothing, no, our vote means something. We just have to know how to use it. It doesn't matter if you have Bitcoin, if you don't know how to use it, you don't know how to leverage it, you don't know how to spend it. You understand? We have to use our political capital properly. This last election, I'm going to say we squandered quite a bit of it, thanks to Jim Clyburn, okay? I hope butter biscuits tasted good, okay? But, yeah, we squandered it in one way, but we also made a dent and we showed something in another way. We got enough people to vote down ballot. We got enough people to demand reparations. We got enough people to push it to the forefront that they are actually terrified of what we might do now. They're afraid that they poke the bear once too often. Even Eddie Goulart is on MSNBC saying, what the hell does Biden think he's doing? How long do the Democrats think we're going to take this crap? So understand that. We are winning in a way that we never expected to. We're doing it in ways that most people don't. We have people behind the scenes, people that are out there doing the work every day. None of us are getting paid. We're all doing whatever we can with our own money, okay? So we have people out there that are doing the work every day. Tamara Sealy, okay? If you can donate to her, donate to her. We have other people that we are running. If we want to get somebody out of office and we don't have somebody to run in 2022, a congressional election comes around every 2 years, folks. We can definitely, within that 2 years, find somebody to locate one of us that we can get together and we can run, okay, and put in office. I don't want to hear crap about qualifications and you can't do this and you can't do that. Donald goddamn Trump was the president of the United States. They got a bunch of QAnon people hanging out in Congress, and Jim Jordan is a congressman. These are some of the dumbest people I have ever seen in my life. I met Donald Trump in person before he ever became president. He is not a smart man. Okay? I'm saying this right now. I don't care if all you have is a GED. You can run and you can win. We can fight and we can win. And if you say, well, suppose we try to vote somebody else in and we don't get any person in there that's working for us, that's what we have right now. Nobody's working for us in the CBC. What's the difference? The difference is everybody will understand what we're doing and we can get it done. We only have 8.5 years left. If we don't reverse what's going on by 2030, it's going to be irreversible, people. I want every sister and brother in this room to know that and understand it. We're not out here. We're not out here where I'm doing what they're doing with their fear mongering. We're not fear mongering. We're anchored in data. We're giving you the facts. We're telling you the truth.
Facts.
This is who we are. This is what we have to do. And thank you all for coming here and listening to us. I do very few interviews, but when I was invited over here by my brother Naeem, I said, "You're damn right, I'm coming on." Okay. If nothing else, I know OG Otis will be out in the chat, and I can just get some more information from that brother. He's forgotten more about the data we're talking about than most of us know, and I appreciate that too. Thank you, brother. Thank you, Cynthia. Thank you, everyone. Hey, thank you, brother Cato. Always love a good debate with you, brother. Love it. Thank you, brother Josh. Thank you, brother Ali.
Indeed, indeed. So, woo, man, this was a great, great discussion tonight. Everybody in the chat is saying that as well. This is what we do here at Be the Power, man. This is what the channel is dedicated to. And brother Cato, yeah, I am gonna run. I'm gonna run. I'm just strategizing right now. I'm just thinking in increments right now. First things first. I want to see how this rally turns out. Which politicians are going to be there, who I can rub elbows with, and just kind of learn the layout of the land, because like I said, my focus was moving back to New York, but I'm trying to get everybody from New York to move to the South. So, I mean, look, I don't know, we might come back on Sunday to have another BTP power session. I'm liking that term, instead of just calling it like a panel discussion. BTP power session, where we just invite the fam on. Definitely want to get some more of the sisters on. Y'all already know I keep saying it on our BTP media channel. We want to have the sisters go over there and have the discussions that us brothers have over here. And I think that'd be powerful to start attracting more of the sisters into the movement as well. I see some sisters in the chat, Sister Brianna, that has come on Be the Power before and gave her, her little 2 cents on the topics that we were discussing. I think it would be great to have these sisters go on maybe twice a week. Hell, even 2 sets of sisters if it's twice a week. I don't really mind that at all. We need our media, and this is what we set it up for. I think we got almost 3,000 subscribers to that channel, and with a bunch of sisters, bunch of beautiful freedmen women faces over there. You already know. So let's link up. I was talking with Sister Connie about that earlier as well. Maybe we have one session with one group of sisters on a Monday, and one session with a group of sisters on a Wednesday or something like that. And we go from there, man. We go from there. Shout out to the OG Arthur Ward. He said, "Great show. My family watched with me this time." That's beautiful. That is beautiful. Sister FF80OS now said, "We need to convert some of these feminists into a freedman agenda." That is a fact. They need to understand that. And I'm putting something together. I'm putting something together insofar as a freedman confraternity, right? And for those that don't know what the word confraternity means, it's a fraternity that it basically includes the sisters. Fraternity is frater, the men, father, brother, etc., etc. But a confraternity is when we have the sisters involved. So I'm putting something together. The spirit is moving me. The spirit is moving me right now, man. I see you, Sister Satra Delry 360. And Josh, you've been seeing some of the stuff I've been putting in the inbox.
He's in the lab, I should say. Something brewing up.
I'm brewing up right now.
I don't even know what some of this stuff is, but just understand it's a depth of knowledge that's being pulled from. I'm like, where did you find this, bro?
So we working on some things, man, and I think that having an order will bring some order. So,
and I just got lastly, don't let Ann Brown get you. Ann Brown got her bag. She walking around with a nice, I don't know what the bags the sister's wearing now, Celine or whatever. Y'all put your favorite bag in the chat. Ann Brown she walking around with your favorite bag.
That's
and then
right.
She trying to say you ain't got no bag, and she whatever little bag you about to get, she trying to get that too. Don't let Ann.
Right. Ours is the 40 bag, right, Ty?
Yeah.
Ours is the 40 bag.
And 40
Brown
bag,
walking
everybody.
And Brown trying to walk around with the knockoff 40 bag. Like, we got this one over here already. So, man, excellent discussion. Look, we might do this again. We might do this again Sunday, man. I'll check in with everybody. I think we need to keep these conversations going. We need to keep the family engaged, right? And, you know, we really, 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 really need to start thinking about running for local office in our areas and make moves, man. Let's make some moves, family. Let's make some moves. So I'll leave y'all with the motto's platform, which is don't just fight the power, become the power. And then and only then will you have the power to make a change. And with that, I say peace.